GlobeX Data continues to make waves in the cybersecurity industry with its product Secure. And with me is CEO Alain Ghiai to update me on the company. So Alain, it's a pleasure to talk to you again. What's the latest with Secure and GlobeX?
Thank you, Jane. Happy to be here. So we just launched, as you know, in the US late summer, our Secure application, which is a messaging and an email app, and we have a combo. One of the things that we're planning to do is to launch our own email application, because we did notice that when you have, most of the people don't know, TLS and SSL and how to set up IMAP email on device. Essentially, we have our Secure Send email, which is an amazing tool. You can send an email to an outsider, they get it, they can reply back using Secure Reply without having Secure, and this whole transaction happens in our SWIS server, which eliminates business email compromise and what we call phishing attack and man in the middle. However, for the average person that may not know how to set up an email, it's a bit cumbersome. So we collected a lot of data from our daily subscribers, which we get a ton of them daily now. Happy to say that. And we decided to create our own email application coming up probably early Q1 that will have all those amazing features like Secure Send, Secure Reply. So it will be as ubiquitous as you downloading, let's say, a Gmail, except that instead of your data being mined every day and hacked every day, you'll have the Secure Mail application. We're looking at about $7 a month, which is in line or way cheaper than a lot of our so-called competitors. And we're pretty excited because we're seeing the demand for that. So the email application is a huge thing. We're planning to do that in Q1. We also purchased about $1 million of equipment in order to increase our capacity, our processing power by a factor of 10. We'll be installing those in our SWIS data centers in January, February as well. So we're very excited. We're building the ground base now, the foundation for the huge push next year.
Mm-hmm. Now you mentioned $7 a month, but I think you and I have talked about the average hack costs somebody $30,000. So,
of course, so
more of these attacks. So it's likely we're all going to be a victim of this at some point.
Well, email, you may have, we were discussing before, there was an article about now you can buy phishing kits, phishing. I'm not talking about salmon phishing, obviously, phishing email. And phishing is basically a way to trick a person to open an email, simply put. And they do it many ways. Now there's deep phishing, there's regular phishing, and now they sell literally kits to do that. So, your 8-year-old, instead of playing, with Hasbro blocks, now they can basically learn how to hack someone, I would imagine. It's that easy with those kits. And the reason is because 99.9% of all emails are using either big tech platforms, which are vulnerable, and open source. 99.98% of software use open source coding, and it leaves everything vulnerable and therefore your email. And that's how they get into your identity, and they hack everything, and they get your credit card, your social security number, your address, your phone number, everything. So having this Secure Send email available to everyone without having to configure anything is an amazing thing. And businesses actually cost them up to $3.5 million every time they have a hack, according to an IBM study. For individuals, it's 30 grand all the way to, it could be somebody can empty your bank account, right? Your IRA, your savings, everything. It does happen. And so consumers are going to like it. Businesses are going to go crazy for it, because we're also launching business email starting next month in October. So if you have a business address, you can migrate from your existing provider and have an email with your business email address with us starting about mid to late October.
Yeah. Well, that just shows how ubiquitous this is, that there's a kit out there that,
it's scary.
How it's even going to be even more. I get numerous emails every day that I know are phishing emails, like warning me about, a bank account that I don't have and things like that. So, and I think they're just taking the chance that maybe I do bank at Wells Fargo, which I don't, but it's just everywhere.
It's all about probability. And not only do they take a chance, they can buy that data, and they know if you're at Wells Fargo or any other bank. So if somebody wants to target the customers of JP Morgan, they know the clients that are at JP Morgan. That's how scary it is. Now with data, it's just our lives are open. So we have to protect ourselves the best we can. One of the ways is to have an email like us, which will be no open source, no big tech, data stored only in Switzerland, and using only that secure send, secure reply. That's the only thing that guarantees you that nobody can come in and impersonate you. And we do the same with our secure messenger, which we'll talk at length later on as we're doing some more improvements with that. It's the same concept. You basically message someone that only has that tunnel with us, as opposed to a WhatsApp or something where you give your phone number away and you get people impersonating others on your phone.
Right. And we've talked before about with the secure email, I can email somebody outside of the secure system. So you can still do that. Everybody doesn't have to be in the same ecosystem, right?
Absolutely. That's our secure send technology, which is proprietary. So if you need to email your stockbroker or your doctor or your lawyer about something private, right now, whenever you send an email, that email is like an open postcard. It's very dangerous. And 94% of all hacks start with email, whether it's big banks or little, just regular people. So with that feature, you can send an email to anybody in the world. They click on a link. You can also password protect the link. You can time expire the link. You can decide how many times they can read it so they won't forward it to someone. And then they can reply using secure reply. And you can also put as many attachments as you want. So it's got multiple advantages. For businesses, it's a bit of a no-brainer, but we see a lot of individuals that are looking for that kind of security and privacy as well.
Oh, I could definitely see that. And Alain, I've been seeing your ads for secure all over Times Square. So big one above the NASDAQ. I took video of it this week. So congratulations. You're getting all kinds of great exposure.
Thank you. I mean, you're in NASDAQ, so every time you go in that building, you must see our ad up there. So we're really excited as we announced on Wednesday. We basically have a huge board on the NASDAQ building, pretty much. I think it's about 96 feet by 19 feet high. We locked in a 2-year contract. And I have to give credit to our partner, FMW Media, Vince Caruso and his team, who worked really hard with us. You know, we have a partnership, so we're splitting the board. He worked really hard to get us an amazing deal. We also have another board on 50th and Broadway. That's a fixed board. And that board talks about the New to the Street, which is a show that obviously we all know because we're in it now, and also Secure and the Newsmax thing. We also have, I like to say, our 200 digital boards in the subway. You know, New York is a center of business in the US and definitely one of the centers of the world when it comes to business, fashion, finance, just everything. And we want to be at the heart of that. We want to support New York, and it's a great way to get your brand out there. So yes, we're super excited, obviously. And it's just, it's unreal. It still hasn't sunk yet. It's so surreal to have your company at the NASDAQ. It shows Secure has arrived. We're here to protect people and to respect your privacy. I'm very excited about it.
Well, and just from as a New York point of view, it's great to see that because New York is coming back, and it's part of that, you know, coming back, things get back to normal. People are getting back into the office. So Secure is a big part of kind of restoring that normalcy.
Absolutely. It reminds me of the 70s when people were dissing New York and it came back with a vengeance. It became, you know, one of the centers of the world. And New York will always remain one of the centers of the world. So, you know, we're here to support. We're happy to be here. And, you know, we're not going to leave anytime soon. We want to keep, obviously, as much as you can. We're also planning to put more roots in New York and eventually down the road, hopefully an uplisting to NASDAQ.
Mm-hmm. And then also, Alain, I mean, tell me a little bit about, you said you had some contact with somebody in Lebanon who had seen one of our interviews. What was that all about?
Yeah, so as you know, we did the Bloomberg International interview that went to, you know, 50 plus countries this past last weekend. And I got a contact from somebody on LinkedIn. He's a very big finance executive from one of the top banks in the world. And now he's in a family office in the Arab Gulf country out of Bahrain. Lebanese, and actually he's going to Bahrain this week. He told me, he just connected, and I said, you know, happy to connect. What can I do for you? He said, nothing. I just saw your interview on Bloomberg. And that's what I like. He said, I thought the strategy of being very aggressive in the US and New York was very smart, literally word for word. That was his impression. And, you know, that's another thing about New York, the power of New York globally. People are looking to New York as a center of finance and center of business. So, of course, I was very excited that somebody far-flung in the Middle East looked at our interview, which you were nice enough to interview me. So I'm excited. I'm sure a lot of other people saw it, because supposedly about 500,000 people look at that show. So obviously it was nice to see. And we're going to build a relationship now with that family office for the company, you know, exposing our company to investors outside of the US, because everybody wants a piece of the US success. The US is the most successful country in the world. Everybody wants to buy a piece of a company in the US that succeeds.
Yeah. Well, and I think it speaks to Secure, and the service that you're providing too is needed in the world. So, I mean, that's probably why you followed up and contacted you. So, well, Alain, thank you. Any further things you would like to add?
I think we covered it this time. On the next episode, probably I'll have more update on our messaging application and our plans. But I think we covered everything, and I'm sure there will be another disastrous news about a hack, unfortunately. But that's why we are here, to counter that a little bit and hopefully protect people's privacy and security, and businesses too. So thank you, Jane, for having me on your show.
Thank you, and look forward to our next interview.
Thank you.